I mean, if there was a camera looking at you when you just finished like the Alita thing or something, and you just put it on for the first time and you're like, like, what does that feel like?
Honestly, I'd probably fall on my bed and just like, I'd probably finish painting the last thing and be like, oh.
Welcome to Creative Insanity. Creative Insanity.
Well, hello, I'm Servant, a rap artist and producer from Canada, and my guest today is Vyner, a brilliant cosplay design artist. In today's episode, we examine some of her artwork in detail, we talk about her process, as well as her education in properties and objects. We both explore why we quit our early career plans and pursued creativity, how our faith intersects with creativity, and we get into the magic of film as inspiration. I also reveal what my next rapification project's going to be, and we discuss the potential props involved, sowing the seeds for potential collaboration. And before I forget to add, her proper Instagram handle is Ally_Vyner_cosplay. ALLY_VYNER_cosplay. I know you're going to come out of this conversation feeling inspired. This is going to be some great fuel. I hope that you enjoy it. Let's get into the conversation. Vyner, welcome to Creative Insanity.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to have you. This is a bizarre meeting of the minds that's going to happen because I never would have encountered you if I wasn't following an Alita Battle Angel hashtag because of one of my own projects that I put out there.
Yeah.
And why don't you introduce yourself to my audience and just say hi, a bit about who you are and why you're a creative person, or what kind of creativity you do.
Okay. So my name is Vyner, and I live in Sydney, Australia. I just turned 20. I've been cosplay is my creative outlet, my passion at the moment. I've always liked art. I've always been kind of good at it at school and all that, but I kind of fell into the more building, costuming, cosplay world at about 15, I would say, when I actually started making things out of cardboard. I love the show Adventure Time, which I thought was, I was really into that when I was probably like 13, and then I was like, hey, I want to build some of I loved all the swords, I liked all that stuff, so I mostly made the swords. I didn't actually make any costumes from that show, but that's what kicked me off. And yeah, I'm interesting question, why I'm creative.
I know it's a tough one. That's why I asked it.
Why am I creative? I would say it's very obvious that I'm creative, as opposed to logical. I've never been that good at planning things, organizing. Definitely more of a left-sided brain person. I hope that's the right side that I'm talking about. No, the left side that I'm talking about.
I wouldn't know. You're probably right. We'll go with that. I think left side is analytical. I could be wrong.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Okay. Well, that shows how much I remember.
How much we both know, really.
I'm the one that's
ultimately they work together. But it's sort of like the processes. I think the left brain processes are more mathematical, regimented, ordered, whereas the right brain is a little bit more open to other things.
I think that sounds right. I have trouble remembering which one is which.
Yeah.
But I think I'm definitely creative for expressive purposes. I do like showing my work to other people. I didn't really utilize social media until really recently to do that. I didn't even know that existed for cosplay or anything. And then once I started doing the social media thing, and only a little bit. By the way, I'm not a massive social media person.
Well, that's what struck me as interesting about you, is that you've got. I mean, as far as I'm not a cosplay expert. I'm not a fabric expert. Like, I don't understand the techniques that you're doing. I'm going to ask you about them. But for me, it looks world class. Like, I saw some of your photos. In fact, I'm going to pull some up. So for people who are listening, you can't see them, so I'm sorry. But you're going to check her out on Instagram, and you're going to get to see these, just how incredible not only the photography is and her costume, but we're going to look at some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Just real brief. We're not going to dwell on it, but I just want people to see how crazy good what you're doing is.
Right.
So
okay.
people should be able to see this, and you can see this. So this is the Alita Battle Angel stuff that I saw. So I did a rap project, Battle Angel related, and I was like, wow, holy crap, like this person has nailed it. The blade, the costume, the arms, and the hands, but we can see in more detail. These are just some really good shots. But look at these arms. Every finger seems to have like a multifaceted element to it. They don't even look like human arms.
Oh, first of all, thank you very much. This was definitely one of the more complicated like pieces or like costumes I've done, just because, yeah, it's got so many pieces all over it that have to move as you move and all that. And I really wanted to emulate, because I saw the movie and I confess I'm not like a super fan of Alita. Like I would say I was when the movie came out, but I didn't know the manga. I wasn't like, I know she's called Gali in the manga or something.
More than me,
so
I just know the film.
Yeah, same. I'm a bit of a film nut for that. So yeah, I really liked her berserker body. I started looking up the animator. I can't remember his name. But I followed him on Instagram. He was super cool, and he posted lots of like reference photos. I noticed they were slightly different, but they were really good. There's a few really good websites out there about like how they built the body and like what kind of materials they used in 3D model. And I more than anything just wanted to recreate that. Of course, it's kind of impossible because it's like CGI and you're trying to pull it into the real world and make it look.
What a challenge. Oh, let's let's walk through some of these photos just real quick. So what I'm looking at here is, it looks just like a bunch of foam cut up like into these interesting shapes. What is this process? Like, what are you doing here?
Okay, so this has been after I patterned everything. And when I say patterned, I have a duct tape foam mannequin that I have that's the size of me. And I just wrap that in duct tape, and then I draw out. I have lots and lots of reference photos of the costume, like lots of different angles of the arms. And I just draw out, like that's the pattern there, where I want everything. And then you cut it out. You try your best to remember what goes where.
Oh, man.
And then you transfer it onto foam, and then I like sanded it with a Dremel and a belt sander.
So this would be the dummy, not dummy.
This is the dummy thing.
Yes, the dummy, the U-shaped dummy that you've got this thing wrapped around the arm. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, even just this is impressive. Like it's not all come together yet in these photos, but it's like, how did you even, you're like thinking in 3D shapes or something.
It's also about, I found that like sometimes you can't achieve what you want to. Like you want it to look amazing, you want it to look super cool and cinematic, and you want it to be really accurate. But a lot of things I've noticed with like when I'm in the patterning phase of costumes is that I have to adapt it as best I can to my body, because like obviously she's an animated character and she has really, really thin arms. And so I was like, okay, no matter what I do, my arms are going to look thicker because I've got my arms. Then on top of that, like an extra centimeter layer of foam around that. So I had to adapt the pattern just a tiny bit to be able to like wrap around me. So like instead of making it out of like 5 mil foam for the fingers, I made it out of 2 mil foam, like so that it would wrap around my fingers and like not be so bulky looking.
Yeah, that's crazy. What I'm looking at right now is an image of, looks like you've drawn the hand.
Yes.
And see, I'm imagining you put your hand on a piece of paper and then just traced around it like that. That's how I do it.
Yep, that's exactly what I did.
It's a little more complicated than that.
No, literally, I put my hand on a piece of paper.
Oh, really?
I drew out, I got lots of reference photos, drew out what I could see. And some of those pieces I literally cut out, put onto foam, and then stuck it on my hand after like maybe painting it, carving it a little bit to make it look a little bit more 3D. Wow. But like the finger pieces, I knew, of course, they had to be a bit longer so they could wrap around my hand. And that just took like wrapping my finger in a bit of duct tape and then drawing out the pattern and cutting it out and going, okay, that's one. And then I'm pretty sure there's a photo of all the finger pieces. I think it's an orange photo.
That was the orange foam right here.
Oh, yeah, that's all the finger pieces.
These are the finger pieces. They look like
so they're just
Halloween decorations or something, like you wouldn't even guess.
Yeah, they look like little ghosts or something. But
little bats. These are bats, definitely.
Yeah, little bats. That's better. But
well, and then see, here's the hand, too.
Yeah, that one post got a lot of attention, I noticed, just because it was I've noticed that whatever I post, like people like all the cosplay heavy things, even if they don't really know that it's the leader, Battle Angel. Right. If they can tell like, hey, this is foam and this girl's made this, then they're like, like that's definitely the posts that get the most attention for me. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. And is it, another dumb question, but is this warm? Like it's got to be warm if you're wearing
Yeah, it
wrapped
is.
in foam.
Yeah. Yep. EVA foam does not breathe. It's
Yeah.
very insulating.
So then you're, you're literally gluing these pieces on. It looks like
Yes.
that you've
Yes.
measured and cut and precisely done. And oh man.
Yeah, and really it's not as hard and complicated as it looks. It just takes like a lot of trial and error. Like be prepared to stick it all together and then go, oh crap, this bit doesn't move well or this bit's too big.
Yeah.
And so quite often you'll just chop it off and work with it and pretend that it didn't happen. No one will notice. But
those were the last of some of the behind scenes photos that I got, and I've gone back just to these professional ones that are
the
taken.
reason, I love to give a lot of the credit to the photographer. His Instagram is Eclectic Cohesion. He's based in Sydney too. He is a big Alita fan and contacted me. And this is the second time he shot my Alita. The first time was at Supernova, where he had like 10 minutes. He'd chuck me up against the wall with a light, and it was like just literally a light that was next to the wall. And we took a few, and they looked really, really good. And I was very impressed by his work in that like 10 minutes. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then, this is at Cockatoo Island. So my first like location shoot.
Oh, really?
That I did. It was like a cool warehouse, very abandoned-y.
I'll admit, being Canadian, I've never been to Cockatoo Island, but it sounds like a very cool island.
It's in Darling Harbour, I believe. It's a short ferry ride, and it's an industrial sort of island. I'm actually not sure what the tourist attraction is there. I think it's just something that Sydney people go and do. I hadn't done it until I did the shoot. But I was very, very quiet when I went there. It was like barely anyone there. And apparently it's one of the most haunted places in Australia. My photographer told me, and I was like, oh, great.
I'm just going to, that's awesome. I'm just going to look at a few more photos from your Instagram here before I stop screen sharing and get back to your face. But like you've done, so besides the Alita stuff, you've done some really crazy, like Wonder Woman. Like this is fantastic. You've done Black Widow. Like this is, like, to me, this is like as good as you can get that's out there. And I can tell that you're very committed. Well, hey, this is certainly, let's say, a very good start then for someone at your age, 20 years old, who's just sort of getting seemingly serious about it and starting to post about it. Like, you're doing well. Well done.
Well, thank you.
So I'm going to stop screen sharing here. And I'm a bit ADHD. And I get distracted if I've got too much going on. So I'm going to stop the screen share. Okay, we're back to you. And so now people have a bit of context. And I'm sorry if you were listening and you didn't get to see those wicked awesome images. Instead, you'll just have to go to her Instagram, which is
Albuquerque Makes. But I'm going to probably change it in the future because no one knows how to spell Albuquerque.
Okay.
And even though actually everyone knows how to spell Albuquerque, mine's just a weird nickname that my dad gave me.
Huh.
So it's actually not the place Albuquerque or anything. It's just like,
It's a very cool nickname. It's a very dad name to give someone named Allie.
Yeah, it was always, Kirk's or Albuquerque. I don't know where he got it, but that's what it is.
Right on. So just a little bit more of your story then, because you're 20 and you're going to school for something quite related, wouldn't you say?
Yes. I just got into, when I say just got into, it's currently April, and I got in and this year I just started a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Properties and Objects, which is basically prop making.
Sounds like Hogwarts.
I wish. Actually, it is the Hogwarts of theater world. I'm kind of in one of the niche bachelors or disciplines, you could say, the prop making. There's only 6 of us in the class. Yeah, and there's 3 year levels. So there's 18 prop makers in the whole school.
Wow.
And there's year 1, year 2, year 3. I'm in year 1. And it is a really fun place to be. You have a lot of access to lots of tools. Like you learn metalwork, woodwork, leather work. You learn to work with silicones and polymers and just stuff like that I was like really eager to get my hands on when I was like first getting into cosplay, and I was researching the crap out of cosplay and like all the different techniques you can use. And they all sounded really fun and really expensive. And I was like, So I'm either going to study this, and obviously that's what I chose to do. I actually dropped out of a nursing degree in order to do it, which was,
that's a bold decision.
just what I did. Going out of school, I was like, right, definitely need a job, need to make some money. So I was like, nursing's great. I like helping people. A lot of my friends wanted to be nurses. That didn't really affect my decision to do it at the time, because at the time I hadn't made all my nursing friends.
Right.
But I knew a couple people that were going into it, and I respected nurses a lot, and I still do. I just found that it wasn't creative enough. I was cosplaying on the side, and all of my attention was going to cosplay and learning about new techniques and upgrading my skills and things. And I thought, this is what I really love doing. So I deferred for a year, and then, I applied for NIDA the year after that, and got in. And I don't know how I got in. I don't know.
Well, I think your Instagram shows that's how you got in, because, I mean, whatever they saw, they knew that you had the potential to be a good prop maker and beyond. So I think that it's a credit. Like, we have very different life experience, but in some ways we're quite similar. So you're 20, I'm 29. I turned 30 this year. I've already got a few kids on my plate, so to speak. I got quite ingrained in a career, but for me, I really wanted to do writing. I wanted to get into these creative things, and I was starting to go to school for psychology when I was 20. I did that for about 2 years, realized I was only taking it because I wanted to become a good writer. And it was
I see.
why are you in school for psychology to become a good writer? Well, I think it was because I wanted to understand more of the human condition. But that little change in my brain made me feel like I needed to not do that and instead pursue creativity. But I mean, I was just starting to rack up personal responsibilities, becoming an adult, and it was very much, I'm going to get a Joe job and just do it on the side, and maybe hopefully do a, what's that called? Moonlighting. I was going to do that until it would take over eventually.
Okay.
And my creativity kind of evolved, and, I got more into music and whatnot, but it was
really
a grind. Cool. Lots of different jobs that I didn't like, a lot of trouble, a lot of pain, a lot of depression at times, and some successes. And it's only been within this last 6 months that I've gone full into creative work now as my main occupation. And I'm able to structure my day now that, I can run a podcast, and there's other things that I can pursue that's related to my passion. So
I see.
When I see what you've done, and just like you were going to go and you started, and then you were like, yeah, this isn't right. And very early made this decision to pursue creativity in a relatively concrete way, right? Like, you're learning some skill that is going to be saleable, right? People will pay you to do this when you're good at it.
Hopefully. That's
hopefully.
the plan.
Yeah, well, I think for sure that's in your future. It's just really cool to see, like, that you had that kind of knowledge about yourself so far anyway.
It just, did not feel right. And I'm sure that's I'm getting reminded of the title of this podcast, the creative insanity at the moment. Like, it's kind of how you feel when you're doing something, that it's going to take some effort to get out of it, even though it's kind of like, it's just not right for you. Like, nothing wrong with the profession at all. It just doesn't sit with you. Your attention's not all there. And I just didn't have as much to give as a nurse as I did as a creative person. And I did feel bad about that for a little while. But, but then, of course, moved on and loved being at NIDA, which is the institution that I'm studying at the moment. Right.
So you've kind of answered for me in part why you think you're creative a little bit. And that's a really tough question to answer. I don't even know if I could answer it, but I do know that something we talked about kind of in like our pre-chat before we got on the podcast here that came up spontaneously was your faith actually plays a role. And that was really interesting for me because I'm Catholic. I'm what I think most people would consider a bad Catholic. I try real hard. I want to go to Mass. I feel like it's my obligation. Obviously, with COVID stuff at time of this recording, Mass isn't happening. Like, there's a lot of restrictions, but I try, and I have a constant guilty complex. You are a cosplaying designer and cosplayer, and you were like, my faith plays a role in what I do. And that's two things I don't normally associate. So I want you to walk me through that. What role does your faith play?
Not as big a role as I want it to. I do want, everything I do to stem from my faith. it is where I'd like to get my strength from, what I call my strength, or my family. I don't like to term, to label religious people at all, but I've learned through like political social media and things that, Catholics have different names for each other, like traditional Catholics or cradle Catholics. So I'd never heard these terms before, like even maybe a month ago. And so I've been brought up Catholic. So I think there is a name for me. I could think it could be a cradle Catholic, but
Yeah.
I'm just Catholic.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Catholic means universal, right? So
Yeah.
it's
I always thought it was a little bit silly that, like we were labeling people in an already kind of labeled like bigger thing. But anyway, how does my faith drive my creativity? I don't know if it comes from like maybe a sort of innate desire to create just anything. Like when you are creating something or when you don't create something, you definitely go through that little bit of like stir craziness where you're like, I just need to make something, and you start Googling and researching, going, what can I make in a day? What materials do I have in order to like express this need to make something? And I'm not sure if that's connected to my faith at all. I'd say, I would like to say everything is. It's definitely when I have a clearer head, when I pray a bit more, when I'm in contact with my friends who are also Catholic or Christian, I definitely create more without stress. The stress of creating, there's also like, I guess stress with creating things. Like you just want to create and create and create. And when it doesn't work out, you're like, oh, well, I'm just bad at creating things.
Yeah, you get in this obsessive mind state and you blame yourself for things going not as you hoped.
Yeah, so I guess you could say my faith helps me just get out of the little, like the rut and where you're not creating anything. Definitely is a mind clearer. Praying definitely for me is just a way of clearing my thoughts and giving it all to God basically and saying, you take care of it, yours, do it, help me, sort of thing.
So it seems like it kind of plays I don't know, like a medic. I'm thinking of like Dungeons Dragons. Like there's someone always like, so it's like it's a very supportive thing in that it's helping you stay sane while you're pursuing something that in many objective senses is completely insane. Like you're doing things that there are some people who their predisposition in life, they would look at it and be like, why would you ever spend time measuring foam and cutting it out and making designs? Like, why would you ever want to do that? And I mean, I grew up in Alberta, Canada. One way you can think of Alberta, and I say this affectionately because I like Texas too. We're like the Texas of Canada. Texas is considered like, the real down south and real conservative. And in Alberta, we're very similar in Canada. And so I grew up around a lot of tradespeople, a lot of people who would look at the artsy-fartsy things, not everyone, but a lot of people, and they'd be like, what are you doing? Like, get a job, like get something, make some money, and then, do a little bit on the side or whatever. But you said something really key, and you said that it's a need, like when you feel like you need to create something. And I think that in my own philosophy of things, that's a big differentiator between like, I guess like a casual creative and like a true creative. And I think that it's not a better than, worse than situation. It's a different way of being. God, I think, makes all sorts of interesting people, but some people get kind of grouped together in that some people are massively creative, and it is a need. If you can't create, I know for myself, I go crazy in really, really bad ways, and like all my vices kick in, and like there's so many things that drag me down that I need it to maintain my own mental health. It's like a form of coping or therapy or something, just to have to create, to put something out there.
Definitely. I think there's also a lot of satisfaction and I guess, almost pride. Pride sounds bad in a faith context, but like when you do finish something, you're proud of it and you want to show it to people and you get good feedback on it, and it just inspires you to create more, and it just puts you in a bit more of a positive mindset after you finish something. It's almost addicting, like creating something.
Yeah, the finishing part, absolutely.
Like I'm addicted to all processes of it, the beginning, the researching, to the like taking photos, to the showing people like finished product stage.
Yeah.
But there's definitely something addictive about finishing projects.
Yeah, I learned that as well. I know that I kind of went through a gamut of creative aspirations. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an actor at first, and then
Mm.
I was composing, I was making little things up on the piano, and I thought, I want to be like John Williams. I want to make music scores for film.
Yeah.
And that was probably a big driving force. And then acting kind of came back, and then writing in about grade 10. I wanted to be a writer. I wrote as I was a little kid. Like I had writing, acting, like all these things kind of swirling in my head. And music seemed like a given. It was like I just did music. I didn't think about it. I strived for other things. But when I started writing, I didn't finish things very quickly. And I remember the 2 years after high school, I just worked and tried to save up for school or something. And I applied to acting school. Actually, that was originally what I was going to go to. But in the year I was waiting to go to acting school, I tried to build the habit of writing. And, you know, you can do that every day, but when you write for every day for a year and you're an inexperienced writer and you're just trying to learn how to scene to scene, and then you're deleting stuff, and it's such a process that you're not finishing. I was like, I need to write short stories. I need to like get to this point where I feel like I've completed something. And I did some of that, but it was really when music kicked in for me quite seriously. I found that I could write, produce, and get something done like within a few days, or within a day, sometimes like within a week. I was getting things done much quicker, and that reciprocal finishing thing made me keep coming back to it more and more, I think psychologically, because, I mean, you must have a happy dance or something, like when you've got that thing and it's there and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
done. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if there was a camera looking at you when you just finished like the Alita thing or something, and you just put it on for the first time and you're like, like, what does that feel like?
Honestly, I'd probably fall on my bed and just like I'd probably finish painting the last thing and be like, oh,
Oh, because you're exhausted.
it's a relief. It's happy, and then like after I've had my because usually cosplayers can relate to this. Like it's actually called a thing called con crunch, or like crunching before a con is a term used to describe the chaos, like the utter chaos, the lack of sleep, the like you just neglect everything else and you finish this costume in order for it to be wearable for a convention either the next day or like the next week. And all my friends and family know that I'm like, because I drag people to conventions with me, and I'm like, oh, you can dress up as this character and I'll be this character. We'll be a big happy squad. But of course, I'm the one doing all the costuming because it's what I like doing, and they don't know how to do it, and they want to, and they like coming over. We'll have like a little, hangout session where we all stay up and we try and costume. But it's usually me at 4 a.m. painting, like maybe heat gunning something together, and they're all on the couch like, ugh. But then you always have enough energy for the con the next day, no matter how, like, even if you get zero sleep, it's still like you're so hyped to like just put on this thing that you've made, or like hold this sword that you've, sanded and painted and just put all this work into, and then go and take photos with other cosplayers who have done the same thing and go and relate to them about having no sleep the night before. It's just addicting and fun.
So what role does the social element play for you? Because it seems like this is the kind of thing that you could be doing by yourself for great swaths of time. And then... Oh,
it definitely is. And there's a balance. There's a mix of social positives and negatives for me, because, of course, cosplaying is addictive. And I'm at NIDA, which is the what I study, from 9 to 6 every weekday. So that cuts out cosplay time pretty much like to only weekends and night times. And so I don't get to do it as much as I did last year when I could just do it all year because I wasn't studying anything. So now I've got to decide how I spend my out of study time. I can either neglect my friends and cosplay, or I can jump on Discord, or we have this little Friday night Discord disco party where we all jump on. We have a couple of drinks and we play Minecraft or Jackbox TV or whatever we feel like kind of just binge playing.
That's awesome.
And yes, we're all 20, 21, 22, and yes, we play Minecraft. Minecraft is another creative outlet.
Yeah, I've heard that. See, I missed that boat. It was all Lego for me. I played Lego. I love Lego.
Yeah.
But Minecraft was coming up where people my age were getting into it. But I was busy with other things. I had a point, like I love video games too, but I'm a dad and I just like don't have time for video games these days.
Oh, honestly, Minecraft is a bit of a guilty pleasure of like most people. And I was of the generation where like, I think maybe in grade 6 or 7 is when it kind of was like booming. Like we
Oh,
had
yeah.
Minecraft everywhere. All the cool kids were playing Minecraft. All the nerdy kids were playing Minecraft. All the kids in between were playing Minecraft.
Wow.
It was, and then like we kind of grew up with it. And I would like to say that we were the nerdy squad in my year group. We weren't popular. We weren't not popular either, but we were known as the nerdy group. Like we liked sci-fi movies and all that. And honestly, we didn't actually play Minecraft during high school, but we did after high school as a means of connecting again. We were like, you know what? I've started playing Minecraft again. Come join me. And so someone has a server, and it's actually perfect for this quarantining because it's so connective. You can see each other, you can build things, you can chat as you're doing it, and it's just great fun. I highly recommend getting back into Minecraft if you're looking for something to do during this isolation.
That's awesome. I know that I played Destiny 2, first-person shooter.
Oh, yeah.
I played that with my brothers. See, I think some years ago, video games, they used to be an escape for me. I would play a lot of video games. I'd watch movies. I love film. I love TV. I think I squandered a lot of my talent at the time, a lot of my natural disposition to learn skills because I was doing too much of that. And I got busy with life and I wanted to get serious about music. And eventually I hit a point where the only time I would play a video game is because it was social. If I was playing Civ 6 or Civ 5 or whatever with my buddy, it's because I couldn't see him anyway. And this way we could talk a bit while we were playing. Or for like Destiny or Halo or something, that was with my brothers. I got 3 brothers. And it's a way that we can connect now that we all live in different towns and cities. And so it's been actually, I think it's like over 6 months that we've had a game or anything. And they're so seldom. But we've just instituted like every 2 weeks, every second Friday night, I'm going to try to play a little bit of Destiny with my brothers because, I mean, can't see them right now. Can't go and see anybody right now.
Exactly.
It's a nice way to connect and do something social. Yeah.
And one thing I did want to bring back to faith really quickly, I did think of it and I forgot about when we were talking about it. Sorry if this completely crosses what we're talking about.
I was going to go back to it too, so I'm glad you did.
Well, I was going to say my faith and particularly social media, cosplay, I'd say more than anything, it's a challenge as well as a outlet, escape, sort of safety net, because it's quite well known, like it's quite looked down upon to be religious nowadays, especially in like worlds like social media and things. If you're preaching and putting your faith out, it's, you're always going to get negativity. You're always going to get like, even if you don't mean to offend anyone or you're just trying to spread what you believe, like there's always that fear, like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Definitely going to get judged.
It's not mainstream.
Definitely shouldn't post this.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's not mainstream.
Yeah, definitely not mainstream. And so I've definitely felt a little bit of a calling to, at one point when I'm maybe a little bit more popular or like just doing it a bit more actively online, I'm definitely going to combine the two a bit more strongly. But at the moment, I don't really feel the need yet. But it's definitely, I can definitely feel there's a challenge coming up between my creativity and my cosplay and combining it publicly with my faith and saying like, this is how it is, this is what I believe, and things like that. So I thought the challenge of it is definitely interesting in the creative world because you get creative people of all different types, all different, backgrounds and everything, which is what's great about being creative because you can relate. But yeah, there is that fear of to say that you're religious in today's world.
I know what you mean. And I think, not to point out your age, but I think that fear might be more even prominent for you because you're so young, like you're just getting into the social media thing too. I know at that age for myself, there was a lot of self-discovery happening. It's kind of a scary thing to put yourself out there. And I'm 29 and I don't often talk open about my faith whatsoever. And like, I'm a rap artist. If you listen to my music, like it's secular in the sense that if you don't have a faith background, you might hear the odd thing that comes up, but I don't think it's going to drive you away. And then, but it's not all that predominantly Christian or Catholic. Like I do swear in my music sometimes, and I know that that's not really good in Christian music circles, but it's
Ah,
just me being me. Yeah, like
it's
so.
so open to interpretation and whatever you feel, I think, personally convicted to put out there. Like, I've been just binging a lot of YouTube and finding a lot of YouTubers in the secular world, just bloggers and things like that. I've just been watching, and like the more I dig into their like videos and stuff, I found that they'll just mention, oh yeah, I happen to be Christian, or while I was at church the other day, and I'm like, oh, this person's got like 4 million subscribers and they're like totally Catholic or Christian. I was like, it can be done.
Yeah.
It is doable.
Yeah, and I think
um,
that is absolutely true. And what I'm learning is that you just be yourself, and
mm,
like there's going to be, well, there are a lot of cosplayers out there. There's a lot of cosplay designers. There's a lot of people who do similar work to what you're passionate about. But one of the things that can differentiate you in a way is you being vulnerable about your own thoughts, feelings, and beliefs sometimes. Like,
mm,
and you need to think that through, and have your own kind of approach. But I think you've got it right. Is that my philosophy is like authenticity is super important. And if
mm,
I have to fake it, if I'm on this podcast and I have to fake it and not be myself, that is terrible for me. That's not fun for me.
mm.
I don't want to do that. Why am I going to waste my time? If I have to fake it in my music, I'm not going to. I'm going to hate it. If I have to fake
Yep.
anything, you're going to hate something called cognitive dissonance. If
Mm,
you have a certain thought or certain belief system in place that says I should act and behave in this way, and if you act in conflict to it, you will experience cognitive dissonance. And there's all sorts of problems that can happen from that. There's a lot of shame dynamic, like people who have addictions, for instance. Like, hey, I'm an alcoholic, but I believe that alcoholism is bad. So then they feel
mm.
shameful, and shameful people make bad decisions. Shameful people are more likely to pick up that drink. So you get the
Yeah.
same, yeah, you get the same kind of mentality if you're not authentic. So doesn't mean you have to be overly preachy. It doesn't mean do you have a ministry? Are you trying to your purpose is to just get out there and preach the good news? Or is it that you can just be yourself and not pretend to be something you're not? And then you'll find that I think people resonate with that authenticity, and they'll
Mm.
be more likely to I don't follow a lot of cosplayer type people, but I'm following you and it's cool. And I find out that you have faith, and it's like, that's even cooler for me because I like to see you interact in that way.
Yeah. I definitely believe about the cognitive dissonance,
Hmm.
that it's definitely true for a lot of creative people and religious people, particularly the combination of the two, because I would think that religious people have a bigger I just said the word before. Not conscience, but
Guilt complex.
it's a word for that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bigger guilt complex, and so they're yeah pretty prone to falling in the trap of feeling shameful and feeling guilty about things that they do or don't do. And yeah, it's definitely a complicated relationship, but one that presents a challenge. And if you're a positive person, you take it and you're like, okay, I can work towards this. I'm gonna become more self-aware, or read into this kind of stuff a bit more, and just try and work through it. And usually, I think with time, people will get over, or not get over, but grow from their
Yeah.
troubles like this. To do with their mind, position, brain position.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you mean. What's interesting is that I think, what kind of world do you want to live in? One where people like yourself who have a faith, who you're probably fairly normally adjusted, and you're not shouting about your faith all the time, because it's not like to say that there's a time and a place, but it's just like, it's part of who you are, and it comes out in a way in everything that you do. And as Catholics, I mean, there's a bit of that. Is it Saint Francis of Assisi or whatever, who is, always preach the gospel and when necessary use words? Is that?
Oh yeah.
I'm
I'm not
misquoting.
sure. I'm not sure, but
I'm misquoting some saints. There's some Catholics rolling their eyes at that one right now, but
no, but that's a really good quote, and I definitely agree, and am of the mindset that preaching the gospel or spreading the good word is just being kind to people, being yourself as well, being true, being authentic, all the things that you said before, is a way of spreading God's love, or however you want to put it. Just, mostly being authentic and trying to be a decent human being.
Yeah. What's some cosplay you would never want to do? Do you have anything?
I'm sure there is. It's hard to pull one out of my mind. I'm sure someone's going to be insulted.
The fact that you're having trouble.
I'm like, but for what reason? I'm like, what character do I really just not like? I'd say they'd have to be boring characters, like characters that don't have cool costumes or something.
Right. So that's tough. It's funny. It's just the way your mind works. You're like, everything is cool, you know?
Yeah, I really, every time I just watched the movie Onward last night.
Oh, it's so good.
Film. I loved it. It was so good. There are some movies that just speak to the magic in you.
Yeah, that was one of them.
That was definitely one of them.
See, I wonder if I had a different angle too. Like for me, I had that going on, but the fact that there is a father relationship, father and his boys. As I'm a dad, I got 3 young girls. Anything that touches the heartstrings in that vein, I'm like weeping. So like,
I was weeping, and like in a funny way, I could relate to the older brother character, because I have a younger brother who is, if you were to animate him in like elf form, he'd be that character, the Ian character.
Right.
He dresses like him, his hair is like him, not blue, but
of course.
But honestly, like the kind of shy, even like everyone, he popped onto screen and my whole family was like, this is, my brother's name is, actually I won't say because he doesn't like his name on the internet too much.
It's clearly George. Really cool. It's George, right?
It could be George. It's close to George.
Yeah.
Now my brother's Instagram is Hero Golem 3D. He's like an amazing modeler, animator, like 3D modeler.
Oh, sweet.
Anything I need him to do, like for cosplay, I plan on utilizing his services. I plan on.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, getting him to model me a sword or something, and then I'll 3D print it and cast it or something. But that's me getting excited about. I love to fangirl about my brother. He's just the sweetest. He's super talented.
Well, that's really, really nice. He's lucky to have such a kind sister who likes him.
Yeah, I do take pride in our relationship. He's one of my best friends. But yeah, just going back to Onward quickly because I enjoyed it so much. It was definitely like, even though the older brother wasn't a boy, I wasn't a girl, I could definitely relate to that sibling relationship and just being there for my little brother all the time, kind of being the confident sort of like outgoing, even the like, we must go onwards on a quest, like young brother, follow me sort of thing. That's kind of how I talk to him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really fun to watch and see us in that pair.
Yeah, so cosplay ideas right there. See,
definitely.
It's such a cool art form. Like I think I would do it. Actually, so I'm not sure how many people will care about this. So like I did this Alita Battle Angel thing and it was like something I'm super proud of. And I don't effectively cosplay as her, but I sort of take on her likeness in some way. I get the blood on here and
yeah.
The next, I'm going to do that with another film that I love. I'm going to do a rapification of another film. It's not going to be the only thing I do. Like I have all sorts of other music that I'm putting out there, but every so often I'm going to put out a big film project like this. And the next one I'm doing is going to be Logan. And I have, oh yeah, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that one, oh man, there's so much, I could talk all days about that, but I love that film so much and the message in that film and everything about it. And my goal is to essentially cosplay as him in a way because I'm in okay shape. Hugh Jackman is obviously jacked.
In very okay
shape. And I plan to film it in like 4 months and I ain't going to gain 30 pounds of muscle in 4 months. I'm pretty thin frame, but like I'm basically going to just try my hardest to get in as ripped a shape as I possibly can so that I can emulate that role in some way. And I'm going to kind of up the ante. I'm going to try to up the ante in terms of the film aspect and work with some 3D designers and whatnot because I want to get some blade action happening.
Would you build the blades as well as a physical prop or would you do it like both?
Only with your help, only with your guidance, because
I actually do plan to make Wolverine claws, because for NIDA we had to make an aluminium knife, like we were just learning how to make a dagger, a prop dagger.
Yeah.
And I'd never worked with metal. It's always been foam or like emulating metal, like with cardboard, or I haven't even done wood. So I was very new to actual prop making. I did all the prop making.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we just started using aluminium, which is really easy to work with. It's a soft metal. You can file it easy. And I saw the aluminium sheet metal, and I was like, Wolverine claws.
Oh man, that's awesome.
The best Wolverine claws ever. And my dad happens to own a business, which is a sign business, and so his company has a lot of like scrap material, like they even happen to have aluminium and a big laser cutter. And I was like, if I can just draw out a design,
man,
and cut it out on sheet metal, and then just file it, sharpen it myself, because at NIDA, of course, you're not allowed to sharpen the things more than like a certain amount, because they're a prop dagger, so you can't actually have them sharp. But at home,
right,
I can make them sharp or like cool as I want. So yeah, Logan,
that's cool.
Definitely on the daggers, not daggers.
Well,
Logan, yeah,
if I don't utilize your services in some way for it, like I'll certainly hope to get some insight from you, because like I want to emulate it in some authentic way, just in the best way that I can. But I have in mind, like I basically want to recreate a little bit of action with it. And so I know that I'm not really going to be able to drive a blade through someone's head. So it would be important to get some CGI. So I'm going to be having a conversation with someone who won't come on the podcast because they sign non-disclosure agreements, but there's someone who's works at Weta Digital.
That is my dream.
Oh, is it really?
Weta is been my dream like job since. I'm not sure if it still is, but I say it is because it's, Weta Workshop I love Lord of the Rings. I love all of that.
Yeah, he was one of the lead guys, I guess, on Alita Battle Angel, and so that's sort of how I connected with him. And yeah, like they have non-disclosure. I haven't had this conversation yet, but knowing that you're excited about that, I'll definitely have to pass that along, because I mean, he seems really friendly and nice. But yeah, basically like the 3D design and whatnot. I'll have to hook you up. That'd be really,
oh my
really
goodness,
cool.
I have no reason yet, but but still, amazing.
Yeah. Well, okay. I feel like we're sort of coming round in this conversation, that the excitement over projects is something we share, and like I feel like I could just talk to you all day about what's going on.
I actually have this project in the works. I'm sorry if you're about to wrap up there, but I need to.
No. Tell me a bit about this project, because that was the next thing I was going to ask. Actually, like, what do you got going on? What's the next thing? What are you working towards?
I'm a bit of a spontaneous maker. Like, when you get that itch to make something, you're just like, okay, I'm just going to pick up this project and run with it. I had this idea. I'm a big Disney fan and a little bit of a Frozen fan. It's never been my like absolute favorite Disney film.
Right.
You having 3 girls, I'm sure would be very, very accustomed to Frozen songs and everything.
Yeah, Frozen 2 I actually really loved, and I'm doing something.
So did I. I really loved Frozen 2. I didn't so much love number 1. Like when it came out,
We're the same person.
What's all the hype about? Like it was good. And honestly, I appreciate it more now that I really like number 2. I was like, I really like Anna. There was a few like Kristoff and Anna. Their kind of chemistry is a little bit weird in number 2. I was like, a little bit weird, but
but there was something lovable about it, right?
Oh yeah, I've always been a bigger Anna fan than I have an Elsa fan.
Oh man, I can't wait to I want to tell you what I'm working on with it too. I'm doing a project, but you go first.
Oh. Well, I happen to be a singer as well, and I love all of the songs from Frozen.
What? You're a singer too?
Yeah, I love singing. Not professionally. I did like a little bit of lessons. Like I kind of bounced around from different like, not singing schools, but like I bounced around trying to find a good one, and eventually I've settled in my parish. There was a friend of mine who had an older sister who was doing singing lessons, and we just did it at the church, proper like paid singing lessons. I think I did that for about a year, but that was mostly just like strengthening my voice. I honestly need to get back into that because my voice has gotten so weak since I stopped like actually practicing singing.
It is a muscle.
It is. If you don't like, it's so croaky at the moment just from the cold, and everything. So probably not the best day to do a podcast, honestly. But
It's all good. You're doing fine. You're doing good. You look healthy.
Thank you. Oh, good. Anyway, long-winded explanation for this project that it's not in the works. It's an idea that I bought fabric for. Bit more of a armorist, foam smith than a fabric worker, sewer. But I do have this project that I want to do, and I don't know where it came from. But I was listening to the Frozen soundtrack, like number 2, and I like the Panic at the Disco version of Into the Unknown. That they play at the credits song. And I just got this random, like, what if Elsa was evil? And I'm sure other people have had this idea because, you know, she's kind of, you know, the villain in number 1. And I was like, I'm sure people have cosplayed as like a dark sort of Elsa, like when they switch the colors out and they make her evil. And I did look it up, and there were some cool ideas and stuff, but nothing huge. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to make this music video. And I don't know if this is actually going to happen or if people want to see it. I don't really mind. I kind of just want to film it.
I want to see it.
YouTube channel. Well, I just wanted to make this music video where I kind of market it. Actually, I'm going to spoil what happens.
Right.
It's going to be.
Got to be careful. Frozen spoilers or.
Oh, not Frozen spoilers, but like my idea spoilers.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I feel reserved sometimes sharing, but I hit a point recently that I'm like, you know what? For me, people might care about you, but nobody cares. I just say what's going on. And if anything, it just builds excitement. So.
Okay. Well, this was, I have no problem sharing the idea or whatnot, but part of the idea is to like kind of not mislead what the video is going to be about, but kind of do that exactly. Yeah. And basically I was just going to make a dark Elsa costume, and I'm in, can I spoil Frozen 2? Is that allowed?
Let's do it. Okay. Spoil it real brief. So spoilers are coming. If plug your ears for a second. She's going to spoil it real quick.
Okay. So at the end of Frozen 2, when Elsa, I'm going to spoil it. If you haven't stopped listening yet and watch it, don't listen to this next bit. Where she kind of finds herself and she gets her new dress, and the voice that's calling her all through the movie, she's like, I know what's calling me is good, and like I know my magic can feel it, it's definitely good. And she gets there, and of course it is good. You know, it's kind of her mother's voice, and it's really nice. I was like, but what if it wasn't good?
Right.
What if his voice was actually evil, and they want her power, they want to like, you know, make her evil sort of thing. And so when she like steps on the little ice thing, and you know the crescendo bit of the song happens, and she gets she realizes who she is. I was like, what if I made a music video where she's like searching so desperately for who she is and like to be accepted and all that, and then suddenly like she steps on this thing and it's like actually more of a evil thing that happens.
Yeah.
And so she transforms into this like dark sort of Elsa, and then all of the elemental crystals, instead of being like happy elemental crystals, I was going to make them into like kind of a red one, which is like still fire, because fire can be evil if I want it to be. And like have all these like, I don't know, maybe shadow or darkness or something, and she was going to become like the evil Ice Queen. And I was just going to start playing the Into the Unknown Panic at the Disco version at that point with the electric guitar, and I was like, I'm going to make a really cool video.
That's awesome.
But it was a shower thought that I've been fleshing out. Now I just want a dark Elsa costume, to be honest. But
well, spoilers are over. If anyone's curious, spoilers are over. But yeah, no, that's awesome. See, for me, I did a readaptation of one of the songs from Frozen 2, where I add some rap portions to it, and I've actually filmed that music video already, but I just haven't edited it, and I'm planning the timing for that release. But it is one of Anna's songs. And
is it the sad one?
It's the one about hopelessness. Yeah.
Yeah, the sad one.
It's sad, but it's so good. It's so.
I do like that song. It has a lot of truth behind those words.
Yeah. I heard that, and it's about grief and loss, and I was like, man, this Disney film has really taken a big, scary subject for kids and made it palpable, or made it consumable and understandable, and also giving them an action plan. Like it's called the next right thing.
Giving them how to react to it. Like when you do deal with something horrible that you just feel like you can't get out of, like the best way to go about it is to just, and it's also like, for me, I really like it that they were teaching, like they were kind of sowing the seeds of like how to be strong, how to deal with this stuff, where like a lot of kid stuff doesn't do that nowadays, but they were sowing like real feelings, real like, getting them to feel something, hopefully, like I did. I don't know if I related to it more than little kids did, but yeah, the idea of doing the next right thing, which is, I don't know if that was a spoiler or not.
No, not at all. No, it's
just the song title.
The song title.
But yeah, just when bad things happen, all you can do is like take the next step, do the next right thing, and it just makes it a little bit more, doable, as you said.
You break it down, right? And so, I resonate with that. I reproduced it, did my own thing, and that'll come out eventually.
That's epic.
But yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, no, I'm excited that we've been starting to build a friendship here. I'm happy to see what else you're doing. Where should people go to check out your stuff? I know it's your Instagram, and the caveat, your Instagram handle you said might change, and by the time this come out, maybe it has changed. If that's the case, I'll make sure the intro or the outro has the right place to go. But for now, where do they go?
For now, I am Albuquerque Makes, and Albuquerque is ALBAKRKY, and then just _makes. Yeah, I'll probably change to my real name, Ali Vyner, just because when I started, like, oh no, people can't really know who I am. Like, that's, I don't know, dangerous or something. But now I'm like, no, it's actually not that dangerous. Like,
people
it's
know.
okay.
If there are malicious types of people out there, they have ways of figuring it out, I'm sure,
Yeah, I figured. And I was like, as long as I keep all my private stuff, like my private accounts on private, then it's all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the moment it's Albuquerque Makes, but it could be Ali something in the future.
Yeah. Well, I hope that my listeners and everybody who listens to this gets the chance to go check it out. Your work is phenomenal. I'm really happy that I got to come across you just accidentally on Instagram land, and that you're willing to have this conversation with me, dive into your thoughts.
I've never done anything like this, and I was very, very excited to. I really like all your Alita stuff, and that you were a fan of Alita, and you were willing to just have a nice creative talk. I was very keen.
Well, thank you, and it shows because it was a great conversation. Okay.
I hope so. I hope that was interesting enough for anyone that's listening.
Yeah. And I'm going to cut it right there. Bam! Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you found any of this valuable, please consider subscribing, recommending this to a friend, or leaving a positive review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you happen to be listening. If you watch this on my Servant YouTube channel or Facebook page, please leave a comment and share. I love to hear from my listeners and learn from them. Learn more about me at www.servant.com. That's SRVENT.com. Thank you again for your time. Now go be creative and sane.